Ezra. Chapter 1. In the first year of Cyrus king of Persia, to fulfill the word of Yahweh spoken through Jeremiah, Yahweh roused the spirit of Cyrus king of Persia to issue a proclamation and to have it publicly displayed throughout his kingdom. Cyrus king of Persia says this: Yahweh, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth and has appointed me to build him a temple in Jerusalem, in Judah. Whoever among you belongs to the full tally of his people, may his God be with him. Let him go up to Jerusalem, in Judah, and build the temple of Yahweh, God of Israel, who is the God in Jerusalem. And let each survivor, wherever he lives, be helped by the people of his locality with silver, gold, equipment and riding beasts, as well as voluntary offerings for the temple of God which is in Jerusalem. Then the heads of families of Judah and of Benjamin, the priests and the Levites, in fact all whose spirit had been roused by God, prepared to go and rebuild the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem, and all their neighbors gave them every kind of help: silver, gold, equipment, riding beasts and valuable presents, in addition to their voluntary offerings. Furthermore, King Cyrus handed over the articles belonging to the temple of Yahweh which Nebuchadnezzar had carried away from Jerusalem and put in the temple of his God. Cyrus king of Persia handed them over to Mithredath the treasurer, who checked them out to Sheshbazzar the prince of Judah. The inventory was as follows: 30 gold dishes, 1,000 silver dishes, 29 repaired, 30 gold bowls, 1,000 silver bowls, 410 damaged, 1,000 other articles. In all, 5,400 articles of gold and silver. Sheshbazzar took all these with him when he led the exiles back from Babylon to Jerusalem. Ezra. Chapter 2. These were the people of the province who returned from the captivity of the exile, those whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had deported to Babylon, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, each to his own town. They were the ones who arrived with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Sariah, Reelaiah, Naramani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpar, Bigvai, Rehum and Baanah. The number of the men of the people of the country of Israel: sons of Parash, 2,172, sons of Shephatiah, 372, sons of Ara, 775, sons of Pahath-Moab, that is to say the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812, sons of Elam, 1,254, sons of Zattu, 945, sons of Zakkai, 760, sons of Bani, 640, 2 sons of Bebai, 623, sons of Azgad, 1,222, sons of Adonikam, 666, sons of Bigvai, 2,056, sons of Adin, 454, sons of Ater, that is to say of Hezekiah, 98, sons of Bazai, 323, sons of Yorah, 112, sons of Hazhum, 223, sons of Gibbar, 95, sons of Bethlehem, 120, 3 men of Netopha, 56, men of Anathoth, 128, sons of Asmaveth, 42, sons of Kiriath-Jearim, Kephra and Beeroth, 743, sons of Ramah and Geba, 621, men of Michmash, 122, men of Bethel and Ai, 223, sons of Nebo, 52, of Magbish, 156, sons of the other Elam, 1,254, sons of Haram, 320, sons of Lod, Hadid and Ono, 725, sons of Jericho, 345, sons of Sina, 3,630. The priests, sons of Jediah, of the house of Jeshua, 973, sons of Immer, 1,052, sons of Pashur, 1,247, sons of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, sons of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the line of Hodaviah, 74. The singers, sons of Asaph, 128. The sons of the gatekeepers, sons of Shallum, sons of Ater, sons of Talmon, sons of Akub, sons of Hatita, sons of Shobai, in all, 139. The temple slaves, sons of Ziha, sons of Asupha, sons of Tabaoth, sons of Kuros, sons of Siaha, sons of Padon, sons of Labana, sons of Hagaba, sons of Akub, sons of Hagab, sons of Shamlai, sons of Hanan, sons of Giddel, sons of Gahar, sons of Rhea, sons of Rezin, sons of Nekoda, sons of Gazam, sons of Uzzah, sons of Paseah, sons of Besai, sons of Asna, sons of the Munites, sons of the Nephisites, sons of Bakbuk, sons of Akupha, sons of Harhur, sons of Bazluth, sons of Mehida, sons of Harsha, sons of Barkos, sons of Sisera, sons of Tema, sons of Neziah, sons of Hatipha. The sons of Solomon's slaves, sons of Sotai, sons of Hassaphareth, sons of Peruda, sons of Jala, sons of Darkon, sons of Giddel, sons of Shephatiah, sons of Hattil, sons of Pacharath-Hazebaim, sons of Ami. The total of the temple slaves and the sons of Solomon's slaves, 392. The following, who came from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon and Immer, could not prove that their families and ancestry were of Israelite origin. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 652. And among the sons of the priests, the sons of Abiah, the sons of Hakaz, the sons of Barzillai, who had married one of the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, whose name he adopted. These had looked for their entries in the official genealogies but were not to be found there, and were hence disqualified from the priesthood. Consequently, His Excellency forbade them to eat any of the consecrated food until a priest appeared who could consult Urim and Thummim. The whole assembly numbered 42,360 people, not counting their male and female slaves to the number of 7,337. They also had 200 male and female singers. Their horses numbered 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. When they arrived at the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem, a certain number of heads of families made voluntary offerings for the temple of God, for its rebuilding on its site. In accordance with their means, they gave 61,000 gold drachmas, 5,000 silver minas, and 100 priestly robes to the sacred treasury. The priests, the Levites, and some of the people settled in Jerusalem, the singers, the gatekeepers, and the temple slaves in their appropriate towns, and all the other Israelites in their own towns. Ezra, chapter 3. When the 7th month came after the Israelites had been resettled in their towns, the people gathered as one person in Jerusalem. Then Jeshua son of Jozadak, with his brother priests, and Zerubbabel son of Shealtiel, with his brothers, set about rebuilding the altar of the God of Israel, to offer burnt offerings on it as prescribed in the law of Moses man of God. They erected the altar on its old site, despite their fear of the people of the country, and on it they presented burnt offerings to Yahweh, burnt offerings morning and evening. They celebrated the Feast of Shelters as prescribed, offering daily the number of burnt offerings required from day to day, and in addition presented the continual burnt offerings prescribed for the Sabbaths, for the new moons, and for all the festivals sacred to Yahweh, as well as those voluntary offerings made by individuals to Yahweh. From the first day of the 7th month they began presenting burnt offerings to Yahweh, though the foundations of the temple of Yahweh had not yet been laid. They also contributed money for the masons and carpenters, and food, drink and oil for the Sidonians and Tyrians for bringing cedar wood from Lebanon by sea to Jaffa, for which Cyrus king of Persia had given permission. It was in the 2nd month of the 2nd year after their arrival at the temple of God in Jerusalem that Zerubbabel son of Shealtiel and Jeshua son of Jozadak, with the rest of their brothers, the priests, the Levites, and all the people who had returned to Jerusalem from captivity, began the work by appointing some of the Levites who were 20 years old or more to superintend the work on the temple of Yahweh. The Levites, Jeshua, his sons and his brothers, with Kadmiel, Binnui and his sons, the sons of Hodaviah, agreed to superintend the men working on the temple of God. When the builders had laid the foundations of the temple of Yahweh, the priests in their robes stood forward with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise Yahweh according to the ordinances of David king of Israel. They chanted praise and thanksgiving to Yahweh because for Israel, they said, He is good, and everlasting in His faithful love. Then all the people raised a mighty shout of praise to Yahweh, since the foundations of the temple of Yahweh had now been laid. Many of the older priests, Levites, and heads of families, who had seen the first temple, wept very loudly when the foundations of this one were laid before their eyes, but many others shouted aloud for joy, so that nobody could distinguish the noise of the joyful shout from the noise of the people's weeping, for the people shouted so loudly that the noise could be heard far away. Ezra, chapter 4. When the enemies of Judah and Benjamin heard that the exiles were building the temple of Yahweh, God of Israel, they came to Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the heads of families and said, Let us help you build. For we resort to your God as you do, and we have been sacrificing to him since the time of Esarhaddon king of Assyria, who brought us here. Zerubbabel, Jeshua, and the other heads of Israelite families replied, It is out of the question that you should join us in building a temple for our God. We shall build for Yahweh, God of Israel, on our own, as King Cyrus king of Persia has commanded us. The people of the country then set about demoralizing the people of Judah and deterring them from building. They also bribed counselors against them to frustrate their purpose throughout the lifetime of Cyrus king of Persia right on into the reign of Darius king of Persia. In the reign of Xerxes, at the beginning of his reign, they drew up an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. In the days of Artaxerxes, Mithridath, Tabeel and their other associates wrote to Artaxerxes king of Persia against Jerusalem. The text of the letter was written in Aramaic writing and dialect. Then Rehum the governor and Shimshai the secretary wrote a letter to King Artaxerxes, denouncing Jerusalem as follows. From Rehum the governor and Shimshai the secretary and their other associates, the judges, the legates, the Persian officials, the people of Uruk, Babylon and Susa, that is, the Elamite, and the other peoples whom the great and illustrious Ashurbanipal deported and settled in the towns of Samaria and in the rest of Trans-Euphrates. This is the text of the letter which they sent him. To King Artaxerxes, from your servants the people of Trans-Euphrates. May the king now please be informed that the Jews, who have come up from you to us, have arrived in Jerusalem and are rebuilding the rebellious and evil city. They have begun rebuilding the walls and are laying the foundations. And now the king should be informed that once the city is rebuilt and the walls are restored, they will refuse to pay tribute, tax or toll. Thus, the king will incur a loss. And now, because we eat the palace salt, it is not proper for us to see this affront offered to the king. We therefore send this information to the king so that a search may be made in the archives of your ancestors, in which archives you will find and learn that this city is a rebellious city, the bane of kings and provinces, and that sedition has been stirred up there from ancient times. That is why this city was destroyed. We inform the king that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are restored, you will soon have no territories left in Trans-Euphrates. The king sent this reply to Rehum the governor, to Shimshai the secretary, and to their other associates resident in Samaria and elsewhere in Trans-Euphrates. Greetings. And now, the document which you sent us has been accurately translated for me, and by my order search has been made, and it has been found that this city has rebelled against the kings in the past, and that revolt and sedition have been contrived in it, and that powerful kings have reigned in Jerusalem, governing the whole of Trans-Euphrates and exacting tribute, tax and toll. Now give orders for these men to cease work. This city is not to be rebuilt until I give the order. Beware of acting negligently in this matter. Why should the harm grow, to endanger the king? As soon as the text of King Artaxerxes' document had been read to Rehum the governor, Shimshai the secretary and their associates, they hurried to the Jews in Jerusalem and stopped their work by force of arms. Work on the temple of God in Jerusalem then ceased, and was discontinued until the second year of the reign of Darius king of Persia. Ezra, Chapter 5. When the prophets Haggai and Zechariah son of Iddo prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel who was over them, Zerubbabel son of Shealtiel and Jeshua son of Jozadak began rebuilding the temple of God in Jerusalem. With them were the prophets of God, supporting them. It was then that Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, Shethar-Bozenai and their associates came to them and asked, "Who gave you the order to rebuild this temple and complete this structure? What are the names of the men putting up this building?" But the eyes of their God were watching over the elders of the Jews, so they were not forced to stop until a report could reach Darius and an official reply about the matter could be received from him. A copy of the letter which Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, Shethar-Bozenai and his associates, the officials in Trans-Euphrates, sent to King Darius. They sent him a report which ran as follows: To King Darius, hearty greetings. The king should be informed that we went to the province of Judah, to the temple of the great God, which is being rebuilt with large stones. Beams are being embedded in the walls. The work is being carried out energetically and is making good progress. Questioning these elders, we asked them, "Who gave you permission to rebuild this temple and complete this structure?" We also asked them their names to inform you so that we could record the names of the men who were their leaders. They gave us the following answer: "We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth. We are rebuilding the temple built many years ago, which a great king of Israel had built and completed. But because our ancestors angered the God of heaven, he handed them over to Nebuchadnezzar the Chaldean king of Babylon, who destroyed this temple and deported the people to Babylon. In the first year of Cyrus king of Babylon, however, King Cyrus issued an official order that this temple of God should be rebuilt. Furthermore, those gold and silver articles belonging to the temple of God, which Nebuchadnezzar had removed from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to the temple of Babylon, King Cyrus in turn removed from the temple of Babylon and handed back to a certain Sheshbazzar whom he had appointed governor. He said to him, "Take these articles. Go and return them to the temple which is in Jerusalem, and let the temple of God be rebuilt on its original site." This Sheshbazzar then came and laid the foundations of the temple of God in Jerusalem, and it has been under construction ever since, and is not yet finished. Hence, if it please the king, let search be made in the royal treasuries in Babylon, to find out if it is true that an official order was issued by King Cyrus for this temple of God in Jerusalem to be rebuilt, and let the king's decision on this matter be sent to us. Ezra, Chapter 6. Then, on the order of King Darius, search was made in the archives deposited in the treasuries in Babylon, and a scroll was found in the fortress of Ecbatana, which ran as follows: Memorandum. In the first year of King Cyrus issued this order: Temple of God in Jerusalem. The temple is to be rebuilt as a place of offering sacrifice, and its foundations retained. Its height is to be 60 cubits, its width 60 cubits, with 3 layers of large stones and 1 layer of timber. The cost is to be met by the royal treasury. Furthermore, the gold and silver articles belonging to the temple of God which Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to Babylon are to be given back and returned to the temple in Jerusalem, each to its proper place, and deposited in the temple of God. Hence, Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, Shethar-Bozenai and your associates, the officials of Trans-Euphrates, keep away from there. Leave the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews alone to get on with their work on that temple of God. They are permitted to rebuild that temple of God on that site. And herewith are my instructions as to how you will assist these elders of the Jews in the rebuilding of that temple of God. The cost is to be paid in full to these men from the royal revenue, that is, from the taxes of Trans-Euphrates, and without interruption. And whatever is required, young bulls, rams, lambs for burnt offerings to the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, oil, as the priests in Jerusalem request, is to be given them day by day without fail, so that they may offer sacrifices acceptable to the God of heaven and pray for the life of the king and his sons. Furthermore, I have issued an instruction that if anyone disobeys this order, a beam is to be torn from his house, he is to be impaled on it, and his house is to be reduced to a rubbish heap for his offense. And may the God who has caused his name to live there overthrow the king of any people who dares to defy this and destroy the temple of God in Jerusalem. I, Darius, have issued this order. Let it be punctiliously obeyed. Tattenai, governor of Trans-Euphrates, Shethar-bozenai and their associates punctiliously obeyed the instructions sent by King Darius, and the elders of the Jews made good progress over their building, thanks to the prophetic activity of the prophet Haggai and Zechariah son of Iddo, completing the reconstruction in accordance with the command of the God of Israel and the order of Cyrus and of Darius. This temple was completed on the 23rd day of the month of Adar, in the 6th year of the reign of King Darius. The Israelites, the priests, the Levites and the remainder of the exiles, joyfully celebrated the dedication of this temple of God. For the dedication of this temple of God they offered 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs and, as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he-goats, corresponding to the number of the tribes of Israel. Then they installed the priests in their orders and the Levites in their positions for the ministry of the temple of God in Jerusalem, as prescribed in the Book of Moses. The exiles celebrated the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. The Levites, as one man, had purified themselves. All were pure, so they sacrificed the Passover for all the exiles, for their brothers the priests and for themselves. So the Israelites who had returned from exile and all those who had renounced the filthy practices of the people of the country to join them in resorting to Yahweh, God of Israel, ate the Passover. For 7 days they joyfully celebrated the feast of unleavened bread, for Yahweh had given them cause to rejoice, having moved the heart of the king of Assyria in their favor to support them in their work on the temple of God, the God of Israel. Ezra, chapter 7. After these events, in the reign of Artaxerxes king of Persia, Ezra son of Seraiah, son of Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Shallum, son of Zadok, son of Ahitub, son of Amariah, son of Azariah, son of Meraioth, son of Zerahiah, son of Uzzi, son of Buki, son of Abishua, son of Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of the chief priest Aaron. This Ezra came up from Babylon. He was a scribe versed in the law of Moses, which Yahweh, God of Israel, had given. The king gave him everything that he asked for, since the hand of Yahweh his God was over him. A number of Israelites, priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers and temple slaves went up to Jerusalem in the 7th year of the reign of King Artaxerxes. Ezra arrived in Jerusalem in the 5th month, in the 7th year of the king's reign, for he had ordered the departure from Babylon on the 1st day of the 1st month, and he arrived in Jerusalem on the 1st day of the 5th month, since the kindly hand of his God was over him. For Ezra had devoted himself to studying the law of Yahweh so as to put into practice and teach its statutes and rulings. This is the text of the document which King Artaxerxes gave to Ezra, the priest scribe, a student of matters pertaining to Yahweh's commandments and statutes relating to Israel. Artaxerxes, king of kings, to the priest Ezra, secretary of the law of the God of heaven, greetings. Now here are my orders. All members of the people of Israel in my kingdom, including their priests and Levites, who freely choose to go to Jerusalem, may go with you, for you are being sent by the king and his 7 counselors to investigate how the law of your God, in which you are expert, is being applied in Judah and Jerusalem, and to transport the silver and gold which the king and his counselors have voluntarily offered to the God of Israel who resides in Jerusalem, as well as all the silver and gold which you received throughout the province of Babylon and the voluntary offerings freely contributed by the people and the priests for the temple of their God in Jerusalem. This money you will punctiliously use for the purchase of bulls, rams, lambs and the materials for the oblations and libations which go with them, offering these on the altar of the temple of your God in Jerusalem, and using the remainder of the silver and gold in accordance with the will of your God as you and your brothers may think fit. You will deliver the articles which have been given you for the ministry of the temple of your God to the God of Jerusalem, and whatever else is needed and you are obliged to supply for the temple of your God, you will supply from the royal treasury. I, King Artaxerxes, have issued the following instruction to all the treasurers of Trans-Euphrates. Whatever the priest Ezra, secretary of the law of the God of heaven, My request of you is to be punctiliously complied with. Up to 100 talents of silver, 100 kor of wheat, 100 bat of wine, 100 bat of oil, and unlimited salt. Whatever the God of heaven demands for the temple of the God of heaven must be diligently provided. Why should retribution come on the realm of the king and of his sons? You are further informed that it is against the law to impose tribute, tax or toll on any of the priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, temple slaves or other servants of this temple of God. And you, Ezra, by virtue of the wisdom of your God, which you possess, are to appoint magistrates and scribes to administer justice for the whole people of Trans-Euphrates, that is, for all who know the law of your God, and you are to teach it to those who do not know it. And on anyone who will not comply with the law of your God and the law of the king, let sentence be swiftly executed, whether it be death, banishment, fine, or imprisonment. Blessed be Yahweh, God of our ancestors, who moved the king's heart in this way to restore the beauty of the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem. Won for me the faithful love of the king, his counselors, and all the most powerful of the king's officials. Taking heart since the hand of Yahweh my God was over me, I assembled those Israelite heads of families who were to go with me. Ezra, chapter 8. These, with their genealogies, were the heads of families who set out from Babylon with me in the reign of King Artaxerxes. Of the sons of Phinehas, Gershom. Of the sons of Ithamar, Daniel. Of the sons of David, Hattush son of Shechaniah. Of the sons of Parash, Zechariah, and with him 150 males officially registered. Of the sons of Pahath-Moab, Elioenai son of Zerahiah, and with him 200 males. Of the sons of Zattu, Shechaniah son of Jahaziel, and with him 300 males. Of the sons of Adin, Ebed son of Jonathan, and with him 50 males. Of the sons of Elam, Jeshaiah son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. Of the sons of Shephatiah, Zebadiah son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the sons of Joab, Obadiah son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. Of the sons of Bani, Shelemith son of Josiphiah, and with him 160 males. Of the sons of Bibai, Zechariah son of Bibai, and with him 28 males. Of the sons of Azgad, Johanan son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. Of the sons of Adonikam, the younger sons, whose names are Eliphalet, Jeiel, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. And of the sons of Bigvai, Uthai son of Zabud, and with him 70 males. I assembled them near the canal which runs to Ahava, where we camped for 3 days. I noticed laymen and priests, but I could not discover any Levites there. I then sent for Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jerib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, judicious men, and sent them to Iddo, the leading man of a place called Casiphia. I told them what they were to say to Iddo and his kinsmen, living at the place called Casiphia, that is, to provide us with people to serve the temple of our God. And because the hand of God was good to us, they sent us a wise man of the sons of Mali son of Levi, son of Israel, a certain Sherebiah with his sons and kinsmen, 18 men. Also Hashabiah, and with him his brother Jeshaiah of the sons of Merari with his kinsmen and sons, 20 men, and 220 temple slaves, descendants of the temple slaves whom David and the princes had assigned to serve the Levites, all of them designated by name. There, beside the Ahava canal, I then proclaimed a fast, to humble ourselves before our God and to pray to him for a successful journey for us, our dependents, and all our belongings. For I should have been ashamed to ask the king for a company of cavalry to protect us from hostile people on our road. As we had already said to the king, the hand of our God is over all who seek him for their protection, but his mighty retribution befalls all those who forsake him. So we fasted and pleaded with our God about this, and he heard us. I next chose 12 of the leading priests, and also Sherebiah and Hashabiah with 10 of their kinsmen. To them I weighed out the silver, the gold, and the utensils, the contributions which the king, his counselors, his notables, and all the Israelites there present had made for the temple of our God. To them I weighed out and handed over 650 talents of silver, 100 utensils of silver valued at 2 talents, 100 talents of gold, 20 golden bowls valued at 1,000 darics, and 2 utensils of fine burnished copper as precious as gold. I said to them, "You are consecrated to Yahweh. These utensils are consecrated too. The silver and gold are a voluntary offering to Yahweh, God of your ancestors. Guard them carefully until you weigh them out to the leading priests, the Levites, and the heads of families of Israel in Jerusalem in the rooms of the temple of Yahweh." The priests and Levites then took charge of the silver, the gold, and the utensils thus weighed, to bring them to Jerusalem to the temple of our God. On the 12th day of the first month we left the Ahava Canal to make our way to Jerusalem. The hand of our God was over us and protected us from enemies and surprise attacks on our way. When we arrived in Jerusalem, we rested for 3 days. On the 4th day the silver, the gold, and the utensils were weighed in the temple of our God and handed over to the priest Meremoth son of Uriah, and, with him, Eleazar son of Phinehas. With them were the Levites Jozabad son of Jeshua and Noadiah son of Binnui. By number and weight all was there. The total weight was recorded at the same time. When the exiles arrived from their captivity, they offered burnt offerings to the God of Israel, 12 bulls on behalf of all Israel, 96 rams, 72 lambs, and as a sin offering 12 he-goats. The whole of this is a burnt offering to Yahweh. They also delivered the king's instructions to the king's satraps and the governors of Trans-Euphrates, who then supported the people and the temple of God. Ezra, chapter 9. Once this was done, the officials approached me to say, "The people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, have not renounced the disgusting practices of the people of the country, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites, since they and their sons have married some of their women, as a result of which the holy race has been contaminated by the people of the country. The officials and leaders have been the worst offenders in this act of infidelity." On hearing this, I tore my clothes and my cloak. I pulled hair from my head and beard and sat down in horror. All who trembled at the words of the God of Israel gathered round me, when faced with the infidelity of the exiles, while I went on sitting there in horror until the evening sacrifice. At the evening sacrifice I came out of my stupor and, falling on my knees in my torn clothes and cloak, stretched out my hands to Yahweh my God, and said, "My God, I am ashamed. I blush to lift my face to you, my God. For our iniquities have increased, until they are higher than our heads, and our guilt has risen as high as heaven. From the days of our ancestors until now we have been deeply guilty, and, because of our iniquities, we, our kings and our priests, have been handed over to the kings of other countries, to the sword, to captivity, to pillage, to shame, as is the case today. And now, for a brief moment, the favor of Yahweh our God has allowed a remnant of us to escape and given us a stable home in His holy place, so that our God can raise our spirits and revive us a little in our slavery. For we are slaves, but God has not forgotten us in our slavery. He has extended His faithful love to us even unto the kings of Persia and revived us to rebuild the temple of our God, restore its ruins, and provide us with a refuge in Judah and in Jerusalem. But now, our God, what can we say after this? For we have abandoned your commandments, which you gave through your servants the prophets in these terms. The country which you are about to possess is a polluted country, polluted by the people of the country and their disgusting practices, which have filled it with their filth from end to end. Hence you are not to give your daughters in marriage to their sons, or let their daughters marry your sons, or ever concern yourselves about peace or good relations with them, if you want to grow stronger, to live off the fat of the land and bequeath it to your sons forever. After all that has befallen us because of our evil deeds and our deep guilt, though you, our God, have punished us less than our iniquities deserved and have allowed us to escape like this, are we to break your commandments again and intermarry with people with these disgusting practices? Would you not be enraged with us to the point of destroying us, leaving neither remnant nor survivor? Yahweh, God of Israel, you are upright. We survive only as the remnant we are today. We come before you in our guilt. Because of it we cannot stand in your presence. Ezra, chapter 10. While Ezra, weeping and prostrating himself in front of the temple of God, was praying and making confession, a very large crowd of men, women and children of Israel gathered round him, the people weeping bitterly. Then Shechaniah son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, spoke up and said to Ezra, "We have been unfaithful to our God by marrying foreign women from the people of the country. But, in spite of this, there is still some hope for Israel. We will make a covenant with our God to send away all the foreign wives and their children in obedience to the advice of my Lord and of those who tremble at the commandment of our God. Let us act in accordance with the law. Go ahead, do your duty. We support you. Be brave, take action." Then Ezra stood up and put the leading priests and Levites and all Israel on oath to do what had been said. They took the oath. Ezra then left his place in front of the temple of God and went to the room of Jehohanan's son of Eliashib, where he spent the night without eating food or drinking water, because he was still mourning over the exiles' infidelity. A proclamation was issued throughout Judah and Jerusalem that all the exiles were to assemble in Jerusalem, and that anyone who failed within 3 days to answer the summons of the officials and elders was to forfeit all his possessions and himself be excluded from the community of the exiles. As a result, all the men of Judah and Benjamin assembled in Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 20th day of the 9th month. All the people sat down in the square in front of the temple of God, trembling because of the matter in hand and because of the heavy rain. The priest Ezra then stood up and said to them, "You have been unfaithful and have married foreign wives, thus adding to Israel's guilt. So now give thanks to Yahweh, God of your ancestors, and do his will by holding aloof from the people of the country and from foreign wives." In ringing tones, the whole assembly answered, "Yes, our duty is to do as you say. But there are many people here and it is the rainy season. We cannot stay out in the open. Besides, this is not something that can be dealt with in 1 or 2 days, since many of us have been unfaithful over this. Let our officials deputize for the whole community, and all the people in our towns who have married foreign wives can come at stated times, accompanied by elders and judges from each town, until our God's fierce anger over this is turned away from us." Only Jonathan son of Asahel and Jotziah son of Tikvah, supported by Meshullam and Shabbathai the Levite, were opposed to this. The exiles did as had been proposed, and the priest Ezra selected the family heads of the various families, all of them by name, who began their sittings on the first day of the 10th month to look into the matter. And by the first day of the first month they had dealt with all the men who had married foreign women. Among the priests who were found to have married foreign wives were, of the sons of Jeshua son of Jozadak and his brothers, Messiah, Eleazar, Jerib and Gedaliah, who agreed to send their wives away. Their guilt offering was a ram from the flock for their guilt. Of the sons of Immer, Hanani and Zebadiah. Of the sons of Haram, Messiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel and Uzziah. Of the sons of Pashur, Elioenai, Messiah, Ishmael, Nethanel, Jozabad and Elasa. Of the Levites, Jozabad, Shimi, Keliah, that is, Kelitapethahiah, Judah, and Eleazar. Of the singers, Eliashib and Zachar. Of the gatekeepers, Shallum, Telem and Uri. And of the Israelites, of the sons of Parash, Ramiah, Izziah, Malchijah, Mijamin, Eleazar, Malchijah and Benaiah. Of the sons of Elam, Mattaniah, Zechariah, Jehiel, Abdi, Jerimoth and Elijah. Of the sons of Zattu, Elioenai, Eliashib, Mattaniah, Jerimoth, Zabad and Aziza. Of the sons of Bibai, Jehohanan, Hananiah, Zabbai, Etlai. Of the sons of Bigvai, Meshullam, Malach, Jediah, Jashub, Sheel, Jerimoth. Of the sons of Pahath-Moab, Adnah, Chalal, Benaiah, Messiah, Mattaniah, Bezalel, Binui and Manasseh. Of the sons of Haram, Eleazar, Ishijah, Malchijah, Shemaiah, Shimeon, Benjamin, Malach, Shemariah. Of the sons of Hazhum, Mattanai, Mattata, Zabad, Eliphalet, Jeremiah, Manasseh, Shimi. Of the sons of Bani, Madai, Amram, Uel, Benaiah, Bediah, Jeluhi, Vanya, Mirmoth, Eliashib, Mattaniah, Mattanai and Jasah. Of the sons of Binnui, Shimi, Shelemiah, Nathan and Adaiah. Of the sons of Zakkai, Shashai, Sharai, Azrael, Shelemiah, Shemariah, Shallum, Amariah, Joseph. Of the sons of Nebo, Jeiel, Mattathiah, Zabad, Zabina, Jaddai, Joel, Benaiah. All these had married foreign wives, but sent them away with their children.